Have you ever wondered why some 1950s American cars completely vanished from our roads? 13 automotive disasters that promised innovation but delivered nightmares. The shocking truth behind these failures will leave you speechless. 13th one, Nash Rambler. Starting our countdown with the Nash Rambler, a compact car that tried to convince Americans they wanted smaller vehicles during the era of bigger is better automotive philosophy. Nash positioned this as an economical alternative to full-size cars, featuring a 100-inch wheelbase and lightweight construction that promised better fuel economy. The Rambler offered decent interior space despite its compact dimensions, with a fold-down rear seat that created a makeshift bed for camping enthusiasts. However, the car suffered from terrible build quality, with panels that rusted quickly and interior components that fell apart within months. The styling was awkward and ungainly, looking like a shrunken full-size car rather than a purposefully designed compact vehicle. Performance was anemic, with the weak flathead six-cylinder engine that struggled to accelerate or climb hills with any authority. Americans weren't ready for compact cars in the 1950s, preferring the prestige and comfort of larger vehicles that demonstrated prosperity and success. The Rambler's early attempt at downsizing was ahead of its time, but poorly executed, creating a vehicle that satisfied nobody's desires or needs effectively. 12th one, Crosley Hot Shot. The Crosley Hot Shot represented America's attempt at building a sports car for the masses, featuring a tiny 724 cubic centimeter engine and lightweight construction that should have provided nimble handling and affordable performance. This diminutive roadster weighed only 1,175 pounds and could achieve impressive fuel economy numbers that appealed to budget-conscious buyers wanting sports car excitement. The Hot Shot featured a simple design with minimal bodywork and basic interior appointments that kept costs low while emphasizing driving purity over luxury amenities. However, the car was severely underpowered with only 26.5 horsepower from its small engine, making acceleration painfully slow and highway driving dangerous. Build quality was terrible, with frequent mechanical failures and electrical problems that left owners stranded regularly. The tiny size made it impractical for most Americans who needed real transportation rather than a novelty vehicle that couldn't carry passengers or cargo effectively. Parts availability was poor, and few mechanics understood the unusual engine design that used innovative but unreliable technology. The Hot Shot disappeared quickly as buyers realized that cheap sports cars weren't worth the constant reliability problems and performance limitations that made ownership frustrating rather than enjoyable. 11th one, Kaiser Henry J. The Kaiser Henry J was designed as an affordable compact car that would democratize automobile ownership for lower-income Americans who couldn't afford full-size vehicles. Named after Kaiser Frazer founder Henry J. Kaiser, this car featured simplified construction and basic appointments that kept the price low while providing essential transportation. The Henry J offered decent fuel economy and easy parking in urban environments where space was limited and operating costs mattered more than prestige or performance. However, the car was cheaply built with poor materials and shoddy assembly that created reliability problems from day one. The styling was bland and uninspiring, looking more like a commercial vehicle than a desirable passenger car that buyers wanted to own. Interior space was cramped despite the car's compact exterior dimensions, making it uncomfortable for adult passengers on longer trips. The trunk was tiny and oddly shaped, limiting cargo capacity that families needed for practical transportation duties. Most critically, the Henry J lacked a trunk lid. Cargo had to be loaded through the rear seat, making it impractical for everyday use. Kaiser's financial problems meant poor dealer support and limited parts availability that frustrated owners who needed service and repairs for their troublesome vehicles. 10th one, Studebaker Champion. The Studebaker Champion attempted to compete with the big three automakers by offering distinctive styling and innovative features at competitive prices. Studebaker's independent status allowed for more adventurous design choices, including the famous bullet nose front end that was supposed to suggest speed and modernity. The Champion featured unit body construction that was advanced for its time, providing better structural rigidity than traditional body-on-frame designs used by most competitors. However, the car suffered from chronic quality control problems that damaged Studebaker's reputation among buyers who expected reliability from their vehicles. Rust was a major issue, with body panels corroding quickly in normal use, especially around wheel wells and door frames where water could accumulate. The electrical system was notoriously unreliable, with frequent failures of lights, ignition components, and charging systems that left drivers stranded. Studebaker's limited dealer network meant poor service availability and high repair costs that frustrated owners who needed maintenance and warranty work. The company's financial instability created uncertainty about parts availability and long-term support that concerned potential buyers. Despite some innovative features and distinctive styling, the Champion's reliability problems and Studebaker's corporate troubles made it a poor choice for buyers wanting dependable transportation. 9th one, Packard Patrician. The Packard Patrician represented the company's attempt to maintain its luxury car reputation while adapting to changing market conditions that favored more affordable vehicles. This full-size sedan featured traditional Packard luxury appointments and build quality that had made the brand famous among wealthy buyers for decades. The Patrician offered a smooth-riding suspension, quiet interior, and premium materials that demonstrated Packard's commitment to luxury car excellence. However, the car was extremely expensive and outdated compared to Cadillac and Lincoln models that offered more modern styling and features. Packard's aging manufacturing facilities couldn't match the production efficiency and quality control of General Motors and Ford, resulting in higher costs and inconsistent build quality. The styling was conservative to the point of being stodgy, appealing only to older buyers who remembered Packard's glory days rather than younger customers who wanted contemporary design. Performance was adequate but uninspiring, with engines that lacked the power and smoothness of competitors' more modern power plants. Packard's declining sales volumes meant limited dealer support and poor resale values that made ownership expensive and impractical. The Patrician's failure to compete effectively with established luxury brands contributed to Packard's eventual demise as an independent automaker. 8th one, Hudson Jet. The Hudson Jet was designed as a compact car that would help Hudson compete in the growing small car market while maintaining the company's reputation for performance and innovation. Hudson's famous step-down design was adapted for the smaller jet, creating a low-slung profile that was supposed to provide better handling and distinctive appearance. The car featured Hudson's traditional quality construction and attention to detail that had made the company respected among performance enthusiasts and discriminating buyers. However, the Jet was poorly proportioned and awkwardly styled, looking like a miniaturized full-size car rather than a purposefully designed compact vehicle. The interior was cramped and uncomfortable, with poor visibility and inadequate legroom that made the car unsuitable for adult passengers. Performance was disappointing despite Hudson's performance reputation, with weak engines that couldn't provide adequate acceleration or highway cruising ability. The car was expensive for its size, costing nearly as much as full-size competitors that offered more space, comfort, and prestige for similar money. Hudson's limited production volumes meant high manufacturing costs and poor dealer support that frustrated customers who needed service and parts. The Jet's commercial failure contributed to Hudson's financial problems and eventual merger with Nash to form American Motors Corporation. 7th one, Willys Aero. The Willys Aero represented the company's ambitious attempt to transition from military vehicle production to civilian passenger cars with a modern, aerodynamically efficient design. Willys hired industrial designer Brooks Stevens to create a sleek, contemporary sedan that would compete with established automakers through superior styling and engineering. The Aero featured advanced aerodynamics for its time, with a load-drag coefficient that promised better fuel economy and highway performance than conventional designs. However, the car suffered from severe quality control problems that reflected Willys' inexperience with passenger car manufacturing and limited production resources. Body panels fit poorly, with large gaps and misaligned components that gave the car a cheap, unfinished appearance that discouraged potential buyers. The interior was Spartan and poorly appointed, with cheap materials and minimal features that made the car feel more like a commercial vehicle than a desirable passenger car. Willys' limited dealer network provided poor sales and service support, making it difficult for customers to buy, maintain, or repair their vehicles when problems occurred. The company's focus on military contracts meant limited attention and resources for civilian car development, resulting in a product that couldn't compete effectively with established automakers. The Aero's failure forced Willys to abandon passenger car production and focus on its more successful Jeep brand. 6th one, DeSoto Firedome. The DeSoto Firedome was Chrysler Corporation's attempt to position DeSoto as a premium brand between Dodge and Chrysler, featuring the company's new Hemi 5.8 engine and distinctive styling cues. The Firedome offered impressive performance from its hemispherical combustion chamber engine, which provided more power and efficiency than conventional V8 designs used by competitors. DeSoto's styling was bold and distinctive, with elaborate chrome trim and dramatic body lines that were supposed to attract buyers wanting something different from mainstream offerings. However, the Firedome was poorly positioned in the market, competing directly with Chrysler models while offering little additional value or distinction to justify its existence as a separate brand. Build quality was inconsistent, with the same problems that plagued other Chrysler products during this period, including electrical issues and premature component failures. The Hemi engine, while powerful, was expensive to manufacture and maintain, requiring premium fuel and specialized service that increased ownership costs significantly. DeSoto's limited dealer network meant poor sales support and service availability compared to more established brands with better distribution systems. The brand's confusing market position and lack of clear identity made it difficult for buyers to understand why they should choose DeSoto over Dodge or Chrysler, alternatives that offered similar features and better support. Fifth one, Mercury Monterey. The Mercury Monterey represented Ford's attempt to create a distinctive mid-price car that would compete with Buick and Oldsmobile, while sharing components with Ford to reduce development and manufacturing costs. Mercury's positioning between Ford and Lincoln was supposed to attract buyers who wanted more prestige than Ford offered, but couldn't afford Lincoln's luxury pricing. The Monterey featured Mercury's traditional styling themes with elaborate chrome trim and distinctive grille designs that were supposed to create brand identity and visual appeal. However, the car was essentially a restyled Ford with minimal mechanical differences, offering little real value over its less expensive Ford counterpart. Build quality suffered from the same problems that affected Ford products, including rust issues, electrical problems, and premature component failures that frustrated owners. The styling was overwrought and gaudy, with excessive chrome and decorative elements that looked cheap rather than luxurious compared to genuine luxury car competitors. Performance was adequate but uninspiring, with engines that provided reasonable power but lacked the smoothness and refinement that buyers expected from premium vehicles. Mercury's dealer network was limited compared to Ford's, making sales and service support less convenient for customers who needed maintenance and repairs. The Monterey's failure to establish a clear market identity contributed to Mercury's long-term struggles as a brand. Fourth one, Nash Ambassador. The Nash Ambassador was designed as the company's flagship sedan, featuring advanced engineering and distinctive styling that was supposed to demonstrate Nash's innovation and quality leadership. Nash's unit body construction was ahead of its time, providing better structural rigidity and crash protection than conventional body-on-frame designs used by most competitors. The Ambassador featured Nash's famous Weather Eye heating and ventilation system, which provided superior climate control compared to primitive systems used by other manufacturers. However, the car's styling was polarizing and unconventional, with bulbous proportions and unusual details that many buyers found unattractive or bizarre. Nash's limited production volumes meant high manufacturing costs and poor economies of scale that made the cars expensive compared to Big Three alternatives. Nash's financial instability created uncertainty about long-term parts availability and warranty support that concerned potential buyers who needed reliable transportation. The Ambassador's commercial failure contributed to Nash's eventual merger with Hudson to form American Motors Corporation. Third one, Kaiser Manhattan. The Kaiser Manhattan represented the company's most ambitious attempt to compete with established automakers through innovative design and advanced engineering features. Kaiser Frazer hired talented designers and engineers who created cars with distinctive styling and progressive features that were supposed to attract buyers wanting something different from mainstream offerings. The Manhattan featured advanced safety equipment, including a padded dashboard and recessed controls that were ahead of their time in prioritizing occupant protection. Kaiser's financial instability meant uncertain parts availability and warranty support that concerned potential buyers who needed long-term reliability. The Manhattan styling, while distinctive, was polarizing and didn't appeal to mainstream buyers who preferred more conventional designs from established brands. Performance was adequate but uninspiring, with engines that lacked the power and smoothness of competitors' more advanced power plants. Kaiser's high manufacturing costs meant the cars were expensive compared to Big Three alternatives that offered better value, support, and resale values. The Manhattan's commercial failure contributed to Kaiser's exit from the American passenger car market. Second one, Frazer Manhattan. The Frazer Manhattan was Kaiser Frazer's luxury offering, designed to compete with Buick, Oldsmobile, and Chrysler in the premium car market through distinctive styling and upscale appointments. Frazer featured more elaborate trim and interior appointments than Kaiser models, with premium materials and additional features that were supposed to justify higher prices. The brand lacked identity and recognition among buyers who didn't understand why they should choose Frazer over established luxury car alternatives. Build quality suffered from the same problems that affected Kaiser products, including inconsistent manufacturing and reliability issues that frustrated owners. The company's limited dealer network meant poor sales and service support compared to established luxury car brands with comprehensive distribution systems. Frazer's high prices couldn't be justified by the actual value and quality delivered, making the cars poor investments for buyers who expected luxury car refinement and reliability. The brand was discontinued after only 1 year due to poor sales and the company's decision to focus resources on the more successful Kaiser line. First one, Crosley Supersports. The Crosley Supersports topped our list as the most terrible 1950s American car that should stay buried forever. This tiny convertible represented Crosley's attempt to create an affordable sports car for American buyers who couldn't afford expensive European imports or domestic luxury cars. The Supersports featured a 724 cubic centimeter engine producing only 26.5 horsepower, making it one of the least powerful cars ever sold in America during the horsepower-obsessed 1950s. The car weighed only 1,175 pounds and featured minimal bodywork and basic interior appointments that kept costs low while emphasizing simplicity over comfort or convenience. Build quality was terrible, with frequent mechanical failures, electrical problems, and body component failures that left owners stranded regularly. Parts availability was poor due to Crosley's limited production volumes and dealer network, making repairs expensive and time-consuming when problems occurred. The car's unusual engine design used innovative but unreliable technology that few mechanics understood or could service properly. Most critically, the Supersports offered no real advantages over conventional cars, while creating numerous problems and limitations that made ownership frustrating and impractical for buyers who needed reliable transportation. There you have it, folks. 13 1950s American cars that deserved to disappear and should never return. From Crosley's underpowered disasters to Kaiser's ambitious failures, these automotive nightmares prove that not every innovation deserves to survive. What strikes me most is how many of these companies had good intentions and talented people, but couldn't overcome fundamental business challenges like limited resources, poor dealer networks, and inadequate quality control. Which of these terrible cars surprised you the most? The 1950s taught us that automotive success requires more than distinctive styling or innovative features. It demands reliability, value, and comprehensive customer support that these failures couldn't provide.